All right, special treat for the next 2 days. It's because of you freaking people. Rick and Tom back and better than ever. Tom Jones, my former radio partner, of course, longtime columnist, Tampa Bay Times, now with the Poynter Institute of Media Studies, is going to join us on this podcast coming up here in just a minute, as well as we'll do it twice. How about that? But first, we need to talk about what went on with the Tampa Bay Rays against the New York Yankees. I'm telling you, they lose 6-4, so it's just a 2-game series. They got swept, which is a series that they really needed to win. But when you talk about home run balls, like the other night the Yankees hit 9.
9.
Yeah, 9. And by the way, they had hit 9 earlier this season against the Brewers early in the season. They hit 5 more, including 2 in what was the ninth, I believe. Yeah, 2 in the
10th inning. It was extra.
2 in the 10th. Yeah,
the Rays
2 in
came
the
back.
10th.
So hold
after
on.
the Rays came all the way back and tied it. Yeah.
First of all, the Rays were perfect gamed for 6 innings.
Yes. Did not allow a base runner. Yeah.
Yes, they were on the verge of being another perfect game victory.
Perfecto. Yeah.
But then Hunter Fiducia gets a 2-run double in the 9th to send it to extra innings, which
just missed a home run, which would have been a walk-off, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just missed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to 10, and Pete Fairbanks had given up 2 home runs all year.
Yeah. Well, the next 2 batters went yard on him.
Yeah. Giancarlo Stanton and Austin Wells. But the Rays still had a chance to come back in the 10th.
Yeah, they had second and third with nobody out.
And the top of the order up. Simpson, Diaz, Lau. 1, 2, 3 Ks.
I mean, no one hit the ball. Come on, man. Like, you can't go 3 strikeouts there. Just move the baseball. You probably get a run or 2 and tie it up, you know?
Yep.
No contact at all. Just incredible. I mean, there are ways to kind of punctuate the end of a season like I think they just did. But man, oh man. But
Seattle's lost 5 in a row now. So the Rays are still only 6.5 out of the wild card because Seattle's lost 5 in a row.
But just stop. They're not. Please stop.
The Yankees are now in wild card 1 position, Boston wild card 2.
Yeah. I don't know how you bounce back. Like, there's no bounce here, right? There's no coming back. Like they did well just to go 6-6 on this last road trip, coming home against a Yankee team that they needed to at least win one of the 2 games. And and it's not just it's the way you lost. Like, I mean, how many home runs can you give up in a 2-game series? Apparently, you can give up
14.
Like 14. Think about that. 14 home runs, man. Goodness gracious. And yeah, there were a couple dunkers over the right field wall. I mean, I get it. Rasmussen threw pretty well. Gave up 2 earned runs early, but
they gave up the leadoff home run to Grisham.
Yeah, first batter, which is just a continuation of the theme. But 6 innings, 5 hits, a couple of walks, 6 strikeouts. You'll take that, right? His career ERA against the Yankees is still 1.19. But goodness gracious, I mean, that to tie it up there, come inches away from winning it on a walk-off, and then give up 2 bombs. And and I haven't seen the interview yet, but Pete Fairbanks is going to cut a couple veins for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to put it all on himself, But what a big home run by Bob Seymour.
First career home run.
Yeah, 2 for 4, couple RBIs. Yep. That was huge.
And he had to hit in extra innings to get him to within 6-4.
Yes, he did. And he put him in position, but oh man. Just such a weird season for them this year, And you're playing in the Yankees spring training home, and they're treating it like it's their home because it is. They got everything but the clubhouse. I don't know what Kevin Cash is going to say after this one, but what can he say? The Yankees are red hot right now, swinging the bat. They just 14 home runs in 2 games. Yep. Come on.
Well, they lead the league. They lead the majors in home runs. So
yeah. Well, they can hit the big fly. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. They can definitely do that. But
so 35 games to go, 6.5 out of the wild card.
Yeah.
With 3 teams to jump. That's the issue.
Well, if you go
Kansas
about
City, Cleveland, and Texas. Now, you
if
play
you go about
Cleveland 7
25 and
times.
10, you can get there. But I mean, that's what
Yeah.
it's going to take. You know, I mean, it's going to be like
Yep.
something outrageous.
Yeah, you play Cleveland, I think, 7 times the next 2 weeks. So
Yeah,
that's one of the teams you're chasing.
it's just emotionally like, where is this ball club right now? Right? What do you hang your hat on? Starting pitching? Not if you watch Shane Baz. Bullpen? No, not if you watch Pete Fairbanks. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Offense? Well,
Struggling.
not until you get to the last couple of innings where they even managed a base runner. I mean, so you know what I'm saying? Like, give me something that's working right now for the Rays because nothing is. You know, and that's it's more about how you're playing, right? Like, how do you turn this around and get going again? Now, sometimes it just takes one win, or a couple in a row.
Mm-hmm.
But goodness gracious, that was tough. That was a tough to watch if you're a Rays fan. Although I don't know how many Rays fans were actually there. It sure seemed like there was a lot of Yankee fans, which is par for the course, I guess. Anyway, crazy. Well, we'll see where they go from here. So what's their next they're back at home. They're still at home. They got another homestand?
The Cardinals are in town tonight, tomorrow night, and Sunday afternoon. Remember, there's no game Saturday.
Oh, that's right.
It's
No
been
game
moved for
Saturday.
the Bucs.
Bucs play the final preseason game
Yep.
at Raymond James.
Yep.
And I'm not sure who's going to play, but it won't be Baker Mayfield. We can tell you that. Or Mike Evans or some of their starters or maybe any of their starters. We'll get a better idea from that tomorrow from Todd Bowles, but that much we know that Baker's not going to play. And I had a conversation with him I'll get into later in the week as well. Hey, but first, before we get to my partner, Tom Jones, I want to tell you about Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. If you're looking for a great timepiece, maybe the greatest that you've ever owned, go see our friends at Breitling Boutique. The Breitling Company's been in business for 140-something years, making the best Swiss watches in the world. And they've been International Plaza Mall for the last 5+ years. Now, you go there, they're known for men's watches, the Navatimers, the Chronomats. They also have women's watches for your wife or your girlfriend. These are sports watches. They're durable if your wife or girlfriend's on the go like mine. She's going to bang them around a little bit, but they stay beautiful, and she can pick from an array of different colored wristbands. And while supplies last, and that's important, Breitling Boutique has a commemorative NFL watch in these beautiful Chronomat watches. All 32 teams have a team watch. They have the team colors on the face of the watch as well as the logo. These things are stunning, and you have to see them. Check out our website for an ad with the Buccaneers team watch. It's Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. And when you go there, please let them know that you heard about it on Sports Day Tampa Bay. Special treat, man. We got my radio partner, formerly the columnist of the Tampa Bay Times, now with the Poynter Institute of Media Studies. That's a big name for such a big job. Tom Jones with me, buddy. Where you been?
What's up, buddy? How are you, man?
Buddy, I'm doing well. We're doing well.
I tell you, I got to congratulate you. God bless you, man, because I read you're doing a terrific job, as always. I'm reading your stuff every day, all over the Bucs. Great stuff. But God bless you, man, for being out there at training camp. Can I tell you, people ask me all the time, do you miss being a sports writer? And I do. There's a lot of things I miss about it. I tell you what I don't miss about it is training camp. I never liked covering training camp. And I'm watching you out there, and I'm watching you on Spectrum, and I'm listening to you on the radio, and I'm listening to you on your pod and everything, and obviously reading you. And just, I thought it was miserable to be out there every day. I don't like spring training when I covered it. I don't like lightning training camp was awful because it was in September and it was 1,000 degrees outside and it felt like 10 below inside. Of all the things that I did, and I love being a sports writer, no one's going to hold a telethon for us here, but I really disliked training camp. How do you get through it, man?
Well, I can't get through it, and I got one more day to go, and I'm actually punting that one because I got another assignment that's related to the Bucs. But of those three, now I never did obviously hockey. For some reason, they didn't want me near an arena. I don't know why. They never asked me to do it. I guess they thought that I didn't like
you
ice or
Cooper
something.
Boy, you Coop's your man.
We're tight. I don't know how,
buddies.
but we're tight. The few times I've seen him, he walked right up to me and said, "Hey, man."
Yeah.
But obviously Cooper would allow it, but the Times did not. But that aside, I learned all my hockey from you, right? And so I don't know like what the procedure is, although walking in September into a cold arena sounds really good to me. I would bring a jacket and be fine. But
you know what? It does, but it doesn't, because, like I said, you'd walk out at the end of you'd go in and you felt like it was so cold, and then when
cold,
you come
yeah.
out, it felt good for like a minute, and then you're like,
And then you're roasting,
then
yeah.
you're roasting again.
But imagine being outside in that, like I have been for these many years. And Tom, not for nothing, like the planet is burning up. It's literally on fire everywhere, right? Like we hit 100 degrees in Tampa for the first time in, I don't know, human recorded history. Okay, one day. And so the heat index, it was at one point 116 or 117. Now, I'm no scientist, right? But I don't think humans are supposed to stand out in that stuff, much less with very little to no covering. And I'm glad I'm not a football player, although we'll get into that. I think those guys are a lot softer than they used to be. But there's nothing good. There's absolutely nothing fun about it, good about it. And of all the practices, this is the other thing that I'm kind of like come to realize is that I look football. I've made my life covering football. I'm not going to, crap all over it, just a little bit maybe. But I think I'd rather, just me talking, like the days are so long, like for spring training, we can get into how you get there, crack of dawn and you kind of, write your story of the day during the game, but then you got to cover the games, and then you get up the next day and do it again, right? It's just every day. So baseball is a totally different animal in that sense, but you got a performance at least, right? Things
There's a game.
happen.
You're watching. Yeah,
There's a
there's some
game.
entertainment.
It's an event. You're attending an event that other people paid money for. Like when I go to practice, other than the $5 or $10 the Bucs charge, people aren't paying money to watch these guys practice. In football practice, quite frankly, it's not football, right? Like it's individual drills, and then there's one-on-one lineman rush drills, and then there's 7-on-7, and then finally you might do a little 11-on-11, but there's no tackling, right? It's not really football, It's a bunch of scripted stuff. We're working
And
on
the
the
guys
coming
are a
out.
million miles away from you. Like
There
I
are
will say,
and there's 3 fields going on,
right.
and
I
we
will say,
can't
like
get near
during
anybody.
hockey, yeah, no, during hockey, I will admit, like hockey training camp, it usually started off with scrimmage games for a few days because there were so many guys in camp. You usually
Yeah.
had enough for like 3 or 4 teams, and so they would play, like inter squad games, and then even practices is, and I literally, no, this is no joke. I probably watched 2,000 practices in my life. Like at least some of the drills are kind of entertaining to watch a little bit, or at least they're not football practice. So
No, it's skill though. You're admiring their skill, right? Like, you see them, whether it's, I mean, I don't know what they do in hockey. Is it stick handling or
yeah, it's stick and passing, long
2-on-1
passes,
rushes or some shit
2 on
like that?
1, yeah. I mean,
Did I just say
it
the
looks
word?
like,
Yeah, I said that word.
yeah, for sure.
But it's like stick handling or 2-on-1 rushes, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And they do that, or they'll like long passes or breakouts from your own end. Like you can actually, it looks like hockey a little bit.
Yeah,
You can
it looks
admire
like
some
hockey.
of that.
That's it. Yeah.
Right.
Whereas football does not resemble football because no one's tackling anybody. These guys, and they're out there once a day. Thank God. I can't believe we used to go out there. I went out there 3 times a day with Ray Perkins. I mean,
So that's what I was going to ask you about. So as miserable as I remember going out to One Buck, which is a very nice facility, by the way.
extremely
And
nice. Yeah.
you could jump in if it got really hot. We're not a player. We're allowed to. We can go inside.
You can
if we
go
wanted.
inside. Yeah.
But you almost feel, because you're only out there for a little bit. When you're allowed to look, like you feel like you should
2
be out
hours.
there.
Yeah. 2-hour
Yeah.
practice. We can watch the whole thing.
And sometimes they practice indoors if the weather's a little like
Yeah,
too
although
hot,
Todd
or-
Bowles does not like the indoor facility. He has a thing against it. He just doesn't like to practice there.
But I thought about the old days. Now, as those days when what they used to be like at the University of Tampa, for a while, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Like those days were miserable, right? Just miserable.
They were long, yeah, because they started practice at 8:30 like they do here. But then they would go to about 10:30, and they'd break for lunch. The good thing was you could go to this cafeteria area, which was on the Hillsborough River. It was really nice. And they had like a boardroom, and we would talk to the coach there right after the first practice, kind of get updates on injuries and things like that. And then you could go in the cafeteria and eat what they were eating, number one, and sit down with the player at a table and interview him. You know what I mean? It was a lot more like kind of more exclusive. It wasn't like this packed journalism that we have now where they put a guy up on the podium and everybody has the same guy and then they, 3 guys a day. I mean, we're still able to pick off players coming off the field if we want them, but it's still a little more formatted that way. So
Right.
there was some good to it, but those guys were stuck in college dorms. They were living, they weren't in the Renaissance Hotel at International Plaza. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
they were roughing it. They were bringing mattresses and televisions and refrigerators, like they were checking into a college dorm, which is what it was. And so it was a little more rustic that, but then we go back out there after lunch, they practice again. And then their final practice started at around 3:30, 4 o'clock. And they didn't get done till, you weren't, I mean, I wasn't done with my story or anything like that till 7:38,
And then
and
you
I'd be
go
leaving
home.
UT at dark and then go
Right.
home,
And then
come
you go
back the
home,
next
you eat
morning.
real quick, and you
Yeah.
spend a few minutes with your family, and then it starts all over again. That's what I never liked about spring training either, because as you mentioned, we used to get there like super like 7:30 in the morning, eight
Yeah.
o'clock. And then the game would be at 1. Now, the one good thing was it's March in Florida, you're outside, and
It's beautiful, the best weather you're going to get, really.
exactly. And
Yeah.
as much as I gripe about going inside and outside when it comes to hockey, like at least you know, you could find a temperature that, either inside, you could wear a sweatshirt inside and you felt great. But football, you can't get away from it sometimes. Like there's just something like doesn't feel right. Well, and you know what? I'm going to stop now because there's people who work on roofs every
Yeah,
day.
it's like, I'll cover football. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
exactly.
you go. Oh, you're sweating a little bit at 8:30 in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Try sweating for 8:30
It's
to
okay
6:30.
because I dug ditches. People are like,
So did
yeah,
I.
I did
Yep.
that work. I dug ditches for Florida Progress, and I worked in the summer, and I lost 25 pounds at 18 years old, which is not the thing to do before you go to Arkansas State. But so I've done that other kind of work. I mean, it's not. Look, the reason I'm a sports writer is because my dad did that kind of work his whole life.
You know what? I just a real quick sidebar. I was thinking of your dad the other day. I was actually talking to my wife about this. So, by the way, speaking of heat and how climate change and how everything's like going crazy, my air conditioning broke last week. Okay.
Oh my God.
It was one of those things. My son came by the house
Ugh.
and he texts me and my wife. We're both at work separately.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we get a text, and it's the worst text you can get.
The air's off.
When it says, "Hey, did one of you guys turn on the air before you left this morning?" And I'm like, "Why would? Well, no. Why? Why would we do that?" He said, "It's really hot inside the house." So I got home and I thought, okay, maybe it just sometimes it ices up or whatever. Blah blah blah. It's an old unit.
Yeah.
And nope, it's done. So guy comes out, called a guy. I got a guy comes out to the house. He's working on my house forever on the AC. And
How
he comes
long
in,
before you get it's dead?
It's one of those things like, oh, you just got a clogged pipe. It's just a clogged pipe.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, perfect. And so the first night that would like he couldn't come out till the next day. It broke on a Tuesday. He couldn't come out till Wednesday. So he said, it's just just got to clear out the pipe.
So they shoot the CO2 cartridge and cleans out.
And then they put the thing, drains out, blah blah blah. And he goes, let me look at your compressor real quick just to make sure. He walked out there. One look at it, goes, yeah, you're dead. You're done. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm dead? I'm done. What does that mean? And he's like, yeah, you need a new unit. So okay, so I go, when can you do it?
10,000 or 9 or 8,000?
That's the other thing. It was like 7,000, which was a little bit even less than I thought it would be. Anyway,
Patty had that in her purse, thank God.
So I said, well, what the big question wasn't how much, is like, when can you do it?
Yeah, right. Give me some air in here, man.
This is Wednesday morning, and he goes, I can come back Friday. I can do it Friday.
Oh my God! You had to survive 2 nights now with this?
2 nights without it. So we had one of those portable ones that you like put it in the window and it sucks hot air out of the window. But I end up so we put one in one of the bedrooms, but the bed, so my wife stayed in that room. I actually went without it. But anyway, so let me get to the part where I'm thinking about your dad. So I get the AC. He comes out Friday, comes out like at 9 a.m., gets done at 2 p.m. and finally turns it on. And now I have a digital thermostat, which I'd never had before. I used to have the old one with the little handle on it.
Yeah, a little dial. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. So now it says 90 degrees in my house when they turn that thing on.
Oh my God.
I set it at 75 and the guy leaves, everybody, and it goes, 90, 88. I'm watching it, 86,
You're watching
85.
it drop. Yeah.
And now I'm starting to feel better, starting to feel good in the house. This is on Friday. I'm home by myself. It's Friday afternoon. And I turn on a ball game or something, and I'm starting to doze off on the couch. And all of a sudden, I'm awoken by a boom, like and I realized it's a storm over my house, and lightning has hit somewhere near my house. And
Transformer
all of a
or
sudden,
something?
you hear that beep, 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 like in everything goes dead.
Everything went
Power
out.
knocked
Yeah.
out.
Oh, my
So
God.
you
So
imagine
on the
I don't
same
have
day you got an air conditioner, you cooled
an
the
hour
house down.
into my air conditioner, then the power goes out.
They pulled the plug on the power. Oh, my God.
So I go out. So a little while later, I go outside to see if I'm the only. And my neighbor goes, "Hey, you without power?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Yeah." I called Duke Energy, and he said,
Duke Energy, yeah.
"Yeah." He said, he goes, "By the way, that I was looking outside. That lightning strike, it hit your telephone pole in my yard. I have a transformer in my yard.
Jesus.
I could smell it, and I was thinking." So anyway, getting back to your dad,
Yeah.
didn't your dad was the guy who would come out, right?
He worked on the line department. Yeah, he'd come out and he'd be on the line crew, and they change out those things. Sometimes you'd get a pole that would get struck, and it might have to reset the pole, or at minimum. The weird thing is that they couldn't come out until it stopped raining, because I
Right, of
guess
course.
water and electricity don't mix too well, or they mix way too well. So they'd have to wait for it, and they were union, so that was sort of like the IBEW rules. But yeah, those guys. I mean, it was my dad. I mean, he worked there for like 30 years or more until he retired, and he didn't have much time after he retired before he died. But um, you know, they would work a full day, and then he would coach. He coached baseball, so he would coach sometimes till 11:30, 12 at night. I mean, I can remember coming home from ball games routinely at midnight, and then he'd go to bed, and the phone would ring at about 2 a.m., 3 a.m., right? And it would be the company, which was Florida Progress at the time, calling him out. You had to come out because they had a storm, or they
Because
had
the
an
power was
accident, or
out
somebody hit
somewhere.
a
Yeah.
pole somewhere. There was and you weren't allowed to really say no.
Right.
So it was kind of frowned upon, right? Like, oh, you're in the line department, you got to come out. If there's an emergency, you got to go work. And so the phone would ring, and that was back in the days when you had the wall phones.
Sure.
They weren't like next in your bedroom or anything. So that thing would be ringing, and it was in the kitchen, and my mom would be screaming like, "Pete, the phone, Pete!" And he'd go, "Let it ring." She goes, "We can't just let it ring." It would not stop, right? It was just like they were not hanging up. And he
Right.
goes, "Tell him I'm not here." She goes, "Well, where would you be at 2 o'clock in the morning?" And he just finally he'd troll on out there, and he'd be like, "All right, I'm on my way in," and it'd be like, and then those guys would go, and they'd work through the night and then the whole day, and then if they were union, so if you worked more than 8 hours, they owed you dinner, they owed you time and a half, and all that stuff. But it was hard work, and yeah, and the sun and everything, and they didn't
Oh my
complain,
gosh. I'll give
you
these
know.
guys credit. They for Duke the other day, like it hit and the storm cleared, and they were out there like super fast.
Yeah, they have
And so I was
crews.
probably
Yeah,
only without power for maybe an hour,
that's bad
before.
timing though. You get your air fixed, and
Oh
then
my!
and then the
You know what it
electric goes
reminded
out.
me of? I don't. Do you remember the show Night Gallery back in the day?
Yes.
So the very first, it was if for those who don't remember Night Gallery, it was a show. Rod Serling was the host. He
Rod
was the guy that
Serling,
did
yeah.
Twilight Zone. So it was like a '70s version of Twilight Zone, except it was usually it's a little darker than the old Twilight Zones. Sometimes the Twilight Zones were kind of funny, but this was the very first Night Gallery was the pilot, and it was not like 90 minutes, and it had 3 little episodes that were all different from one another. And the second episode starred Joan Crawford in one of her last roles. Mommy
Paul
Dearest.
Newman's wife, right?
No, that was
No, Joan Crawford. Oh, okay.
Joan Crawford. Yeah, that was Joanne Woodward.
Yeah.
Joan Crawford, who played, Mommy Dearest. That.
Yeah.
Anyway, she plays. Oh, and by the way, direct this particular thing with Joan Crawford, directed by Steven Spielberg. It might have been
Wow.
the first thing he ever directed. He was like
Wow.
20, 21 years old, something like that.
What a combination that is, right?
If I remember this correctly, so what happened was she was blind in the episode. She's
Yeah.
blind, and yet she was like an art collector, but she couldn't see what she owned. And she was like this rich socialite. She lived in this penthouse in New York City or whatever. And she wanted to be able to see. And so I think, remember Tom Bosley, who played on Happy
Oh,
Days?
yeah.
he plays. I think it was him. He
Tom
plays
Bosley, Charlie's Angels.
No, not that part. No, Tom Bosley, who played that was Bosley was the guy's name on.
Oh yeah, I'm
Charlie's
confused.
name. That was the character name. But Tom Bosley, who played Howard Cunningham on Happy Days.
Oh, so, Happy Days. I got you. Tom Bosley. Yeah.
Tom Bosley. Yeah. So I think it was him. I'm pretty sure it was him.
Yeah.
And he is a degenerate gambler in this, and he's like,
is there any other kind?
Exactly. He's in debt. He needs money, and they work out this deal where he's going to give up his eyes to Joan Crawford to have this like experimental operation where she'll have sight for like 12 hours, and that's it. And so she gets these new eyes, and they unwrap it.
What happens to his eyes? So he's blind.
They're gone. But he pays off his debt. They don't get. But he's.
Oh wow.
He's done. So they take. I think that was the other part of this, but this is the main part of it. They take out Joan Crawford. They take off her bandages, and all of a sudden she can see. And just as she starts to be able to see, a blackout hits New York City.
No way.
And then like the whole city goes black.
It goes dark.
Can't see anything. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so that's, to me, the other day, I get the air conditioning back, and as soon as it comes back, God's like, you know what? I'm going to send a storm to your house, and we're going to delay air conditioning for at least another hour. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was. So what was the name of the series again? Twilight Zone?
Night Gallery.
Night Gallery. I think it might have been a Night Gallery. It could have been Twilight Zone. One of those. I saw another one that was weird. Don Rickles, of all people, was doing a serious role. And he was a guy whose wives kept dying, right? Strangely, dramatically, right?
Yeah.
But every time they did, like, he either had an alibi or he didn't remember anything, or there was no way to like kind of prove that he was the one that was killing them.
Right.
And he had it was the weirdest thing. He had like a deformity like on one of his arms. So he didn't like have a hand, so to speak.
Right.
So he always covered this one arm, right? And so it goes along, and it turns out that the person committing all these murders and all these, fires and different things, it was his twin brother that was actually his arm with his arm.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like they pulled it off, and it's like there was this other little like head, where his hand would be. It was So those were the weirdest, like creepiest things they used to have. And there were big stars in them, like Joan Crawford. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Joan Crawford. Yeah, it was like one of her last roles. I heard a story about Rickles the other day, just real quick too. That when he did Casino, with with Robert De Niro.
Well, Robert De Niro,
and Martin Scorsese, and they said that he, in between takes, De Niro, he's working with De Niro, one of the greatest actors in the history of acting, right? And in between takes, he would look over at De Niro and say, "Oh, is that how you're going to play it? You're going to do it that way? Okay, all right, fine." He said, "Here's De Niro, like deeply in character," and would just start cracking up, like, "Yeah, okay."
There's another story. He was on Carson one night with Frank Sinatra because he's good friends with Frank, obviously.
Right.
And they were talking about. Frank told the story where he goes, "Where we're going." Hey, for those of you who are young, you're going to enjoy these stories. Johnny Carson, of all things. But Frank's on there, and he says, "Yeah, this guy." He goes, "I'm in a restaurant one night in New York, and he goes and having dinner. It's a really exclusive place. Look over there." And he goes, all of a sudden, Don walks by, and he says, "Hey, Frank, hey, I'm here with a young lady, trying to impress her." And he says, "I wonder if you could, maybe stop by the table and say hello, just to help me out here." Frank says, "Yeah, sure. As soon as I'm done with my drink, I'll go walk by." So time passes, and he finishes his meal and has his drink and walks on over to Rickles. He says, Hey, Don, how's it going?" And Rickles goes, he says, "Hey, Frank, can't you see I'm busy here?" He just gave him the high hat.
Give the high hat.
Oh, it's funny.
See, that's it. See, this is my life now, man. Me TV, old televisions. I keep telling you.
I know. You got me hooked. You got me. I'm trying not to go there now because I know when I go, I'm all in. Like, I'm all in for these old TV shows, man. I'm on
a big honeymooners kick now. Like back in the fits, so I'm watching that all the time.
One of these days, Alice.
Perry Mason. I'm into Perry Mason all of a sudden. I started watching a bunch of Perry Mason.
There's some strange tension in Perry Mason, You
know what? Though? I'm telling you what. The thing that I never noticed, and maybe you have to be older to appreciate it, even though it's in black and white, you can tell, like, that guy knew how to dress, man.
Yeah, he did.
Like him, and remember his like investigator. I think his name's Paul on the show. Like
Paul,
those guys knew.
What about who's the secretary?
Della Street was his.
Della Street.
They
yeah.
knew. I'm telling you, man,
there.
they were sharply dressed.
Yep.
Go back and watch those suits that they were wearing.
Yeah, and was it Berger was the DA that lost every single case?
Every case. He was the Washington Generals of lawyers. Yeah.
I mean, not for nothing. He'd have been fired probably after about the 12th straight loss in a row.
As soon as you see Mason walking in, like, oh, you know what, Judge, can we do a plea bargain here?
Right, let's strike some deal,
man. We're dropping the case. So.
Also, everybody confessed on the stand. Nobody ever.
I know. Just don't say it. Just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Take the fifth.
Yeah.
You would have gotten out of it.
You don't have to incriminate yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Hey, speaking of TV, let me ask you, did I see where Baker is doing a bunch of commercials now? What was that?
Baker's got a couple commercials. I'm glad you asked. I had a chance to sit down with him today and probably get about 3 or 4 stories out of it, but one that I did write. Remember he had these great progressive commercials back in the day when he was with
I thought they
Browns.
Were so good. Him and his, it's like he acted like he was living.
He lived in the stadium. Yeah, him and his wife. That was his house. It was Baker's home.
Right.
And so he would tell guys to, hey, make sure you water the grass or mow the lawn or whatever. And he had a key and the code, and it was like his number 6 or whatever. And there were just a series of them that were really, really good. And the one thing you found out pretty early, because you had a book club, right, with some ladies, and but you found out that he's a really good actor. You know what I mean? Some athletes can pull it off and others can't, but he's very good at it because he's self-deprecating. He doesn't take himself too seriously. So you could pretty much have him do anything. And they were wildly popular until, some of the Browns fans felt like he wasn't winning enough games. And they were like, he spends all his time doing commercials, and really that's not the case. And so he has one now. He's got 2. One is Popeyes, which is maybe an odd pairing.
I'm all in on Popeyes, so.
I know. Popeyes is really good. But he's got Popeyes where he's Better Mayfield. Popeyes is Better Wings. They're this sauce or this rub or whatever. He goes, I could be Better Mayfield, instead of Baker Mayfield. So he goes through this whole thing. And Vita Vea is in the commercial, has a cameo. It was supposed to be Tristan Wirfs, but then Wirfs got hurt. Couldn't do it because that was his best buddy. So he got Vita to do it, which is really fun. So, and then he, and I kind of broke news on this. He also has one, and thanks to an assist by Steve, he also has one for Uber Eats that they filmed in some small town in Pennsylvania. And not only that, but Bradley Cooper is in it. So it's Baker and Bradley Cooper in the commercial.
Bradley Cooper, he's a big Eagles guy, right?
Huge Eagles fan. Yeah, and that's what he said. He goes, unabashed Eagles fan, really happy they won the Super Bowl. But then I told him, well, yeah, we'll see what happens. You're coming down to our place this year. And of course, a couple of years ago, the Bucs knocked them out of the playoffs when they started 10-1, and then, that's when the Bucs won the wild card round and went to Detroit, nearly won there. So, So
Uber Eats and Popeye should get together and they could do one commercial.
Right. Well, there might be some
Popeyes.
synergy there. Yeah. Yeah. Call Uber Eats, and in order they may have something going on with that. But he goes, people say stuff. He goes, but look, it was 5 or 6 days, couple 5-hour days a week. It's during the summer when I'm on my vacation, And he goes, they put them all together and they end up with like 20 different commercials because they can just edit them and splice them together and different things.
Yeah, it's not like he's skipping practice to go to.
No, he's not missing anything. Not missing training.
Todd, he's like going up to Todd Bowles like, yeah, I won't be at the game Saturday. I got a commercial.
I know.
For
it was like the reason he didn't
Popeyes.
play in Pennsylvania is because he's filming an Uber commercial. No, that's not how it goes. But he'll get blamed if things don't go well. They'll say, well, he's too commercial now, But
I always think of you when we talk about. I mean, things have changed so much for athletes.
Oh God.
Commercials and and you can name practically any big time athlete out there now. They do commercials, but we were talking about who would you say is among? I mean, certainly, who would you pick as the most famous athlete in American history?
The most famous in the sense
biggest,
of
most
recognizable,
famous,
or
recognizable,
most accomplished.
And I'll tell you who I think it is. I think it might be Muhammad Ali, right? Like ever. He'd be up there, right? He'd be in your top 5.
He'd
right?
be there. Michael Jordan would be there.
Jordan, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
you
Tiger
always talk
Woods.
about Jordan. When I mentioned Jordan, you could think, oh, he did Gatorade commercials. He obviously
McDonald's.
did Nike.
Yeah.
McDonald's.
Nike was a
Be
big
like
one.
Mike and all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or if I name Peyton Manning has done 1,000 commercials for big time companies. You remember because you talk about it all the time. Muhammad Ali, heavyweight champion of the world, biggest deal in the world. Remember
I know what you're going with this.
Remember, you tell me. Remember who he did a commercial
Decon Fogon. I don't want you living with roaches.
He did a thing that stopped
Bug
roaches
spray.
in your house.
Bug spray. And can I tell you, I appreciated it because I lived in Florida. We didn't have roaches. We had what we called palmetto bugs.
There's no difference, by the way. Can I tell my wife, when my wife, she says there's no difference between, if she sees a palmetto or a roach, that day we have like 17 exterminators coming out to the house.
Dude, it's a euphemism for roach. I mean, it's just the Florida people came up with they're not roaches, they're palmetto bugs. They're damn roaches. They're roaches that fly.
Roaches
right?
that fly, yeah.
Those are the
Super
worst.
roaches.
They got wings like bats,
Super roaches is what they are. But I mean, Muhammad Ali, can you imagine the heavyweight champ of the world, like doing a commercial for like bugs?
Yeah, how did that pitch go? Hey, champ, we got a great idea. You grew up with roaches, right? Like what?
That's pretty much it. And then they said, just sign the check. Here's the check. All right, I'm good.
Yeah, how much? Exactly.
Exactly.
You want me in the trunks or out of the trunks? Anyway. There's been some weird athlete commercial pairings in the past, though. It's not always.
Sure. Anybody else from the Bucs?
Baker.
Like anybody? So Baker. I mean, you got Baker does it. I'm surprised that. I mean, has Evans done anything? I can't remember if Evans.
No,
I mean, we
don't think so.
Like some guys do local. Like Victor Hedman does a car commercial, and
yeah, I don't think that Mike has really
commercial.
done any endorsements that I can remember. Really, I might be forgetting something.
Well, Hedman and Stamkos did the national commercial.
That's
those
true.
Were the best. They were the best. The one with the kids, the baby, like you better get him started.
Save him for college, and
oh my God, the look that Hedman gives Stamkos is worth the price of.
He's only 6 months old. Yeah,
yeah.
So when they pitched the commercial, they were actually the roles were supposed to be reversed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they've said that, but then Hedman wasn't comfortable with all the lines, so Stamkos took the more speaking part.
Stamkos is great in that commercial.
Yeah.
He's great, but then the look Hedman gives him, like, well, he's only 6 months old.
I guess hockey's not his thing.
I guess hockey's not his thing.
Probably start saving for college.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
Kucherov did a Geico commercial. It was like turning lamps on.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He lit the lamp everywhere.
He just kept, he was like in a furniture store just turning on all the lamps.
Yeah, just wherever he goes, he lit the lamp. Yeah.
I think it was Geico. It was one of those
I do remember that. Yeah. That was funny. No speaking lines, really, but he didn't need them.
No.
Yeah, that was good.
Phil, who's the best is Phil. I swear to you, Phil does a commercial for, I think, that Autobell.
Autobell, yeah. Yep.
Autobell hearing aids, yeah.
And I swear, they're like, hey, Phil, just start talking and we'll edit it together.
Well, no.
Because he goes out there, he's so natural. He goes, my wife was saying, Phil, you don't hear me. And she's right. Go to Autobell. They take care of it. Like, I'm telling you, he's winging it. He's winging it.
They wrote him a script. He says, I'm not reading this. And he winged it. I can tell.
And it's
exactly
perfect.
What happened.
It's perfect, and it's on time, and it's. I bet you shot that. I bet you that's the first
two takes. Yeah.
The best part on the radio commercial one is he goes, people are kind of asking me, what's wrong with you?
He's done now. I'm sure he did a bunch of commercials. I'm sure when he was younger, particularly like in Canada.
Oh my God, in the Boston area, yeah,
and Boston exactly. He was in New York. He played with the Rangers. He did they did a jeans commercial, I think, right?
Vidal Sassoon.
Yeah. Ooh la la.
Vidal Sassoon jeans commercial?
Oh yeah, it was like he and three teammates and
Ron Duguay and Donnie Murdoch and those guys. Yeah, no, he's a natural.
What, the 70s or something?
Late 70s late 70s, early 80s. Yeah. So
that's great stuff. Well, heck, man, I was didn't really have any sports topics. We got some stuff for tomorrow. We'll talk about the Bucs top 50 players. They're having this 50th anniversary. I don't know if you've heard about it, but they've been playing football now for 50 years. you haven't been here quite 50. When did you get here in the Tampa Bay?
I got here in 1982, so it was.
Not too long after.
You know
so
what's
about
interesting though?
6
I
years.
went when I was a little kid. I was probably well, I tell you exactly how old I was. I was 11 years. I was born in 1964, so this would have been the summer of 1976. So I would have been 11 years old, right? I was getting ready to turn 12, and we went our family vacation that year. It was one of those years where money must have been tight. I lived. This is in Pittsburgh. We went to Canton, Ohio. We went to Cedar Point, which was an amusement park in Ohio.
Yep.
And then we went to Canton for the Football Hall of
Pro
Fame.
Football Hall of Fame.
And I
Did you go for Hall of Fame weekend or just to see the museum?
just to the Hall of Fame, just to go. Okay. And we spent like a day and a half there. And my parents like, get yourself a t-shirt, pick out a t-shirt, to take back. And I picked a Tampa Bay Buccaneers shirt. Because I had 1,000 Steelers shirts. I was a huge Steelers fan. Yeah. But I thought I need something new, like something my buddies back home, like nobody will have. And I'm like, oh, here, Tampa Bay Bucs are getting ready to start. They hadn't played a game yet. And I was either going to get that or Seattle Seahawks. And I had an aunt who had just moved to Pinellas Park. So I thought, I'll get a Bucs shirt. So I have a photo somewhere in my house of me standing in front of my house wearing my new Tampa Bay Buccaneers shirt.
Now, was it orange or white with orange?
It was like gray with the orange. It was like a circle with the orange, like Buccaneer Bruce emblem.
But it was a gray shirt.
It was like a gray T-shirt with like a big circle emblem
with Bucco Bruce,
which
is good because nobody can really. Very few people can actually wear the color orange. I could never wear the color orange.
No, but I was 12, so you could pull it off almost.
Yeah,
but that was my. Yeah, so when I came here in 82, I guess they made the playoffs in 82, is that right? Or no?
I think that was their last year, yeah.
Yeah.
For a while.
Right. So
I just spent 5 days in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah.
Last week. And first of all, hotter than it was here, if you can imagine that.
I can't.
Because it just was. And without the breeze, not exactly sea breeze.
And my house, when I was a kid, by the way, we did not have AC at all. Period.
Oh, we didn't have it in Florida until much later.
Yeah,
they used to do things called Florida rooms and jealousy windows. Have you ever heard of those?
Yeah, sure.
The old storm windows and things like that. But I'm in Pittsburgh, and I walked from downtown because we were staying. They were staying downtown. I was like a spillover courtyard or whatever. So like near Penn Street, right? Whatever that is. And I walked along the river, and then across the bridge, and you come down and there's PNC Park, which gorgeous, I have to tell you, Tom, I've not watched a game there. I've seen it in the distance because I usually go to the football stadium. That might be the most beautiful baseball field I've ever seen in my life.
I don't think there's any question. Yes, Topkin will talk about it. I still think it's Topkin's number one stadium. I've been to a bunch of games there I've never covered a game there, but I've been there as a spectator. It's unbelievable. It is.
I mean, it's so nice. Picturesque and gorgeous. It's right on the lake. The outfield is open to the river, or to the water, and just the whole construction of it. The statues outside, you got Roberto Clemente and Willie Stargell. And I had to walk around it to get down to, the Steelers stadium, which used to be Heinz Field. Now it's like a Censure or something like that.
Acrisure or whatever.
Acrisure or something. And so, but man, it was a long walk. I thought, what's a couple miles? It's a mile or so. No, it's a lot more than that.
It's a little bit fair. What's a shame though?
Roasted.
Gorgeous as the stadium that is, and that franchise is so bad.
Why? But that's what I was going to ask you. So here we are in Tampa, Florida, right? Tampa Bay, whatever. And for all the world, the Rays, since '98, been playing inside the Tropicana Field, the godforsaken dome, all of that. The roof gets blown off of it. Everybody thinks they should be in Tampa. Let's have an outdoor stadium, whatever, right? Whatever that is, okay? You got water everywhere. And they don't have a stadium. They can't raise revenue. That's why they're a small market team. They're not going to bid for players. But if they got a new stadium, maybe things will change. So, but here are the Pirates, right? Historically, I mean, we all remember, the Pittsburgh Pirates in the 70s when they were winning,
The Lumber Company and We
the
Are
Lumber
Family and all that.
Company,
Like
We Are
the 70s,
Family,
they
and
were a
Sister
dominant
Sledge,
franchise.
right?
Yep.
All that. And then, same time the Steelers were winning Super Bowls and they were sharing the same ballpark.
Yep.
But here you are, and it is, just having spent a couple days there, it's a great sports town. Not a good sports town, it's a great sports town. I mean, they love their teams, right?
They do.
They're all black and gold. Every team is black and gold,
Yeah.
right? Everywhere you go, there's a terrible towel. Like, it's unbelievable. The fandom is locked in, right, to that regionally, to that whole culture.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you have this beautiful ballpark and you won't refuse. Like, what is the deal, man?
Yeah, it's ownership. That's where
Can they
people
force
really,
the dude to sell? I mean, Sternberg's out of here, so I mean, I don't know.
Well,
Like, what?
They really want, like the guy who wanted to buy the team reportedly a couple of years ago was Mark Cuban. Cuban's a Pittsburgh guy.
Oh,
He
wow.
was born
Wow.
and raised in Pittsburgh. He wanted to buy it. That was the word. He wanted to buy it. And apparently he was at a game recently, and like the chant in Pittsburgh these days is sell the team, which is
Yeah.
directed towards their owner, Nutting is his name. And now apparently when Cuban showed up, people started chanting, buy the team. But I don't know. It's a shame because it's a football town, like everywhere. Everywhere's a
Always,
football
yeah,
town.
of course it is. I mean, the
But
whole area.
it's also
is,
a really good baseball town if they ever just got good. And that's where, I mean, we could talk about this on another episode, but like sometimes I get a little frustrated. I know people are upset with Stu Sternberg here, and they think he's been
they
a
won
bad
though,
owner.
man. They won games.
They won games. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like if you were to, the Pittsburgh Pirate fans would
They
just
die for this.
they would die to have a guy like an ownership that put to get the right people in place and let them do their jobs and spend a little bit of money, or at least scouted well and developed well. That's the thing. Now they got this guy
the
Paul
best pitcher in
Skeens.
baseball.
I've
Paul
never seen
Skeens.
anything like it.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
He's incredible. He's incredibly dominating, and I'm waiting for two stories that are horribly bad. One is, Skeens left last night's game with a funny feeling
Tommy
in his elbow.
John. Yeah.
So he's on his way to Tommy John, and then about 36 months after that will be Paul Skeens has signed a 6-year deal with the Yankees or Cubs or Dodgers or.
I thought you were going to say he broke up with Livy Dunn, but that's another story. But no, yeah, they got the best arm in baseball and the best stadium, one of the top 3-4 stadiums in
and
baseball.
Nobody goes anymore. Nobody
And
goes
no one
unless
goes.
it's fireworks night.
Yeah. I was just staring at this ballpark going, oh my God, how wonderful.
And and there's a lesson there, Rick, and I think Tampa Bay fans need to like really pay attention to that. Is everybody said once we put the stadium in Tampa and once we have, once it's a nice stadium and it's not the Trop, then all the problems are going to be solved. People are going to go, no, you better have a product on the field.
It's a great lesson. Exactly. Because I was just there. They have everything that the Tampa Bay Rays have said they've been searching since 98, right? The perfect spot on the water, gorgeous ballpark. Just everything that these guys have said they needed. And guess what? It didn't ensure winning. It didn't ensure success.
And if you don't win and no one goes, I'm telling you,
then
they have
no
a lot
one's
of
going to
nights
go, no matter how pretty it is. Yeah.
Nobody goes. They have 10,000 fans,
Yeah.
So.
It's a shame, but talk about potential and wasted opportunity and all that. Because here's the thing, it's a great sports town and it's steeped in tradition. I mean, they won a whole bunch of World Series, folks.
Exactly.
So
I don't know about my Steelers though, man. I got bad.
I got to tell you, Tommy. So we talked. I think I've talked to you about Mike Tomlin not too long ago.
Yeah.
So I think you mentioned that there's Tomlin fatigue. You probably have it, right?
Sure.
And Mike
2016. That's my number.
I know.
It's the last time they won a playoff
Look,
game.
I'm a Mike Tomlin guy. I'm not going to apologize for that.
Yeah.
He came up to me during practice and gave me the little bro hug. He goes, "Damn, Stroud, you've been doing this as long as me." And I was like, "No, Mike, longer, way longer." I wish I had done it as long as you. But he's got a presence, man. Like, you watch this guy coach, and we got to be on the sidelines, during it was a controlled scrimmage, right? They're scripted, and you're doing, goal line or red zone or coming out or punt, kickoff, that sort of thing.
Right.
And I just listened and watched him coach. Like, he is that franchise on the field. Like, Aaron Rodgers can come if he wants to, but Aaron Rodgers ain't running that ball club. And to the point where, like, he's both affable and frightening at the same time, like, to play
Sure.
for him. There's this one guy, because they had referees, and this one guy got a flag and on a kickoff or something like that. And he says, "Who was it? Who was it?" And the guy goes, "It's 43 or whatever." He walked over there. He goes, "Take your stuff." Well, he said, "Take your blank off now. You are done." It's like, wow. I mean, practice wasn't more than 30 minutes old.
Here's why there's Tomlin fatigue, Rick, is that they haven't been good enough to win a playoff game since 2016.
They've lost six times. Last 6 times they've been in the playoffs, they're one and done, I believe.
Right. And not even competitive, really, in those games. And yet the problem is he's too good a coach for them to be bad enough to bottom out.
They can't get
to
in the
get
top
what
5
they need,
to get a
which is
quarterback.
a legitimate quarterback. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they had no like the last 2 years of Roethlisberger was done. He should have retired.
Yeah, he
2 years before he
hung
retired.
on, yeah.
And then they had that, they go through a thing with Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett, and they went through that whole thing. Then last year with Russell Wilson, and yet through all this, again, the worst, the stat that people wake up screaming in the middle of the night in Pittsburgh,
never had a losing record.
Season. Never had a losing record. Yeah, it's like that's not a good thing, unfortunately. Like, again, they've never bottomed out to the point where it's like, okay, now they have a crack at getting Arch. They're not going to get Arch Manning next year because they're going to be too good. They're going to win 9 games. They're going to win 8. And who knows? I think Rodgers may be able to win them 8 or 9 games.
He could, although he didn't look to me. He just looked really like, I saw Brady at the end, and this guy looks worse than Brady. At the end. Yeah, to me he does. He's still like, I'll watch him throw a football all day. Like, he throws the most beautiful ball you've ever seen. He's just like, he's butter. His motion, both feet off the ground. Like, he can still do stuff, but The other thing they do that the Steelers have always done is, it's an allocation system, right? They spend way too much money on defense. Like, you can't just be a defensive team, right? Like, you have to have some money to spend on that offense to score points. And, defensive coach, and I know, Steel Curtain and all that, but like, today's football, man, you're going to have to find a way to get points. And I looked at that team and I just said, I don't see how they're going to score a lot.
No, well, that was the problem last year. They were scoring 19, 20 points a game.
Yeah, and I don't think it's getting any better.
Even when they got to like 24, they were winning games, because they're deep. But you have to score. Yeah, you have to score at least 3 touchdowns to win games.
I don't think it's going to get any better. And he may win another 8 or 9. I don't know. Maybe he has another non-losing season at some point. And they weren't even playing. Rodgers didn't play at all. And
he's not going to, apparently, the last game.
He's not going to play. No, he's not going to play in the preseason. And why would you? I mean, we really get down to it, right? I mean, he lasted 4 plays for the Jets, so, no sense in putting him in now. But at some point, they had like Mason Rudolph, I guess, was quarterbacking or something like that. But at some point, it wasn't going well for the Steelers. And there was, even in preseason, those people show up for those games. Like, and there's nobody playing, right? But even in preseason, they show up, and there was a chant that was either fire Tomlin or something, but it was an anti-Tomlin chant in the stadium. I've never heard that before. But there's Tomlin fatigue up there. There really is.
I think he would walk. I don't know. They'll never fire him. The only way.
No, I think it'll be one of those where, and you know what? To be honest with you, and I haven't talked to him, so I don't know this, but like, why would you want to leave an organization that is going to stick by you the way the Steelers stick by their head coaches, right? But by the same token, like, I could see a situation where he goes, you know what? It's best for me to leave Pittsburgh.
I could see where he would step away, go work for Fox or NBC or whoever for a year or something, and then pick the right job.
And just find a place with a quarterback. Simple as that. Right?
Dallas
just
Cowboys
go where there's a quarterback.
Yeah.
Because that's what it takes to win. So, anyway, well, this has been fun. We didn't solve any of the world's problems, but we did talk about a lot of stuff. I wanted to get your opinion, if you'll come back to talk about the Bucs top 50 players. We had to come.
I voted in that thing.
Did you?
I voted on. Yeah, I did.
Okay, perfect. Because I think I screwed it up a little bit, but we might have a disagreement on some. But we'll come back. We'll talk about that tomorrow if you're game.
I'll go find my list.
Awesome. Let's do it. Thanks, Tommy.
Thanks.
I will see if the Rays can bounce back against the St. Louis Cardinals tonight, and my friend Tom Jones will return back to back with Tom Jones. Can hardly wait. And we're going to talk a little Buccaneers 50th anniversary and maybe even cut into the top 50 players as we saw it through those 50 years. So lots to look forward to. Thanks for listening. As always, go see our friends at Breitling Boutique International Plaza Mall. For Steve Versnick, I'm Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times. Have a great day, everybody.